Hey everyone, is my disappointment showing? If not, well, I'll just let you know right now. I'm quite disappointed today. And it's not gigantic news as far as big major incident that has happened, although there's lots of them and I'll be getting to those reports later on. But in this particular video, I'm just covering the topic, and this is from Milo's site, but a lot of the other establishment and non-establishment outlets are covering this particular topic because it is political, even though this is in reference to a sitcom, but they're actually canceling Last Man Standing. ABC cancels Tim Allen's conservative sitcom despite high ratings. I just can't understand because, yes, and I mean, it doesn't matter if you're conservative or not, but if you've ever watched Tim Allen, the guy's funny, and he had a very great cast that he was working with. The show was very funny. I do recommend that even if they do cancel it, there's already, 4 or 5 seasons. I believe it's around 5 seasons around there, but just go check it out. And you'll see it's a great comedy. But once again, really what it comes down to is, especially for the blue collar type, right? Your stereotypical blue collar, or your hillbilly, or your redneck, or those who are into hunting and fishing, or just strong, or racing cars, right? I mean, he has Jay Leno on his show too, because it's all about classic cars and stuff. But yes, it was a show that for people like myself that grew up in that era and that time frame, we love that. It's not even nostalgia, because we actually have that kind of stuff that's still presented and put forth every day. I mean, look at what Dodge just came out with this year, the Demon. 850 horsepower, basically a drag strip car that you buy off the showroom floor and can take it down to your local quarter-mile track, and it'll run nines. Comes with the trans brake, right? Line lock. Basically, like I say, it's like it's a production drag car, right? So, these kind of things are still, and I mean, we know the Camaros, the Mustangs, the Challengers, the I mean, it's kind of like that muscle car era 2.0, what we've entered in. Of course, the difference between then and now is back then you could actually enjoy the muscle in your muscle car. Now you can buy these muscle cars, but perfect example, if you live in Ontario and Canada, if you go 50 kilometers an hour over the speed limit, which really isn't much because the speed limits are so low today, but they can impound your car. I actually just saw this the other day. This poor bastard was having his Porsche, I think it was a Carrera, a fairly expensive car, 911 Carrera, I believe, but it was, getting ready to put up on the tow truck. And when you see that happening on the side of a highway, you know what the underlying reason was. The guy was probably speeding in excess of 50 kilometers an hour. But this is the kind of shit we live in. Or even though he might have not committed any particular crime, but because there's a potential he might have heard something. Ooh, the potential for a crime. Well, this is, like I say, the authoritarians, they push that stuff so far now. But, I mean, forget about that. That's just... But like I say, I mean, for us, strong-willed, strong character, very brave, people that I always tell people, I live off of adrenaline, man. I love adrenaline. That's why I always was into racing, whether it's ATVs or cars. But I love that racing. I love the challenge. I love the competitiveness. I love how it raises and elevates each other. So if you're beat by someone one week and you're very competitive, well, you're going to go back home or back to school and figure, how am I going to beat that person next week? So at every stage of the game, and races back then to racing now, everything's gotten better, faster, more efficient. The whole spiel, right? That's what raises and elevates each other. But the collectivists, the parasitical types, they don't like that, because that's, like I said, all comes down to competition. And when you're the person that sees yourself as someone that always loses in any competition or any battle, you don't like competition, right? And that's what these leftists, these collectivists, these parasitical types are. And apparently they've got so much power in Hollywood, and we know that's the case today anyways, because just look at all the movies they're coming out with. There's no real strong male characters anymore. It's all feminists are taking over everything, right? Where women could just beat up on men, superhero women are killing all these men, and men are just inept pieces of shit. And even in television shows, I mean, how many television shows do you watch where the guy is just and the woman's like, oh, well, don't worry, honey, I'll take care of you. I'm smart, you're a dumbass, right? I mean, you see that propagated and put forth so much. And there was just the slightest bit of pushback from a show such as Last Man Standing. And like I say, it's not against, because if you look at the way Tim, his relationship with his daughters, because he has 3 daughters and a wife in this show, it's all great. And I mean, there's an excellent balance, but he gets to be him. He gets to be a strong, independent, blue collarish type of man, although he's the owner of a hunting and fishing business, or co-owner. But he's still that kind of blue collar mentality and attitude. But as we're seeing now, apparently, even just giving us even 1 or 2 shows where men or young boys can grow up and feel secure and confident in having that kind of mentality or abilities, well, that's being beat out of them. And once again, there seems to be no end to this race to the bottom. ABC has reportedly canceled Tim Allen's sitcom Last Man Standing, despite its continued high rating into its 6th season. According to Deadline Hollywood, LMS, Last Man Standing, is on the higher end cost-wise for a multi-camera sitcom because of the marquee salary Allen commands, but 20th TV had agreed to license fee reductions in the past. This time there was no bargaining, with ABC simply deciding against another season. Deadline Hollywood goes on to state that the cancellation is a financial hit to 20th TV, which had solid LMS in syndication where the sitcom had been doing very well, a rare off-network rating success story these days. Watson writes that the cancellation is leaving some to wonder whether the show was canned because of Allen's conservative politics. Indeed, Tim Allen has been known for his very public digs at liberals. During one episode of LMS, Allen lashed out the idea of microaggressions, calling them the latest liberal attacks on free speech. And now, like I say, if you go and watch any of these episodes, you'll see, yes, he definitely comes across as a conservative type person. But he's very, very professional about it. I mean, it's Tim Allen, right? And if you'll see, if there's nothing outrageous or bombastic about it, right? It's just very typical conservative-leaning type of a situation or sitcom. And I think it's disturbing, and obviously a lot of other people think it's disturbing, that we can't even enjoy these kinds of shows without having these idiots trying to shut it down all the time. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.